Testing 1, 2, 3. What pack? How y'all doing? Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot, guys. Let's do it, Wolfpack. Let's do this. Let's see. Okay. Hey, how you doing? How y'all doing now? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to the Tim Black Show. Thank you for tuning in, my people on Periscope, Facebook, YouTube. Glad you could be here, that we could be here together and make this happen. Oh, man. Wow. You take a day off and everything has to be redone. Everything has to, like, when you're a workaholic like I am, right? You take a day off, it's supposed to be a day of rest. It ends up being a day. You end up having to come back the next day after taking that day off and like get recalibrated. It's better to work straight through. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Let me go make sure people can hear me on the various platforms, and then we'll get into the show a little bit here. Let's start with YouTube. What's up, YouTube people? Hope that you can hear me, YouTube peoples. How y'all doing? It's green. There we go. It's green. I did a restart of the routers and all that stuff. Brian Crosby. Oh, Progressive Geek out the gate. Oh, he's shooting scores. Thank you, Johnson. I appreciate it, Progressive Geek. Sheldon Hughes in the house. David Melford. Aurora D. Tanya A. Viking Tees. Tina Lulu Mac. GDNP8. K2 Shy. Joe Famous in the house. Make of Things in the house. Little Rock Elevators. Evening to you. Big A. 05. What up? Looking good, guys. Looking good. Ryan Lux, Tatiana. And the great Jilly Love. Lisa Glenn. Lisa G. Lisa G and Lisa Glenn. Tatiana Harris there. Yeah. And yeah, we're looking good. Doing great, Tim. Thank you, Progressive Geek. You're doing great, too. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Maggie, what up? Mary Warren's in the house. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Let's jump over to Facebook and see who's in Facebook land. Get any love in Facebook? It's not refreshing on Facebook. Let me try to refresh. Let me see if this works. I hope it does. I like to kind of know that it's moving. Okay, there we go. It's working. Hey, Facebook people, how y'all doing? What's up, Bruce? What's happening? What's up, Jessica? What's up, Ricky? What's up, Uli's in the house? Rocky, Leslie, Nicole's in the house, Rita. Nicole, I see you out there, Nicole, doing your thing. Thank you. Michael, Zach, Maddie's in the house. Leslie's in the house, yes. John's in the house. All right. And Sean and Robert. And Loretta is in the house. Thank you, Nicole. Britt Also, Helen's in the house. Jeanette's in the house. We got a good crew. Zara. Kim is in the house. Kim Vasquez. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Julie. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. I appreciate it. I need it, Julie. You don't know. Kevin. What's up, Kevin? What's up, Jan? All right, guys, check this out. All right. Before I forget, let me remind you tomorrow, right? So people know what's happening, right? Tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be appearing on the Ida Rodriguez Show, okay? The Ida Rodriguez Show. It's at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Pacific Time, okay? The Truth Serum Show. That's what it's called, Truth Serum. I knew I remember it. Now, it's not just going to be me. You're going to get 4 incredible people. Of course, Ida, because it's her show. She's the host. Francesca Fiorentini, okay? Chloe Hillard, and your brother Tim Black. So be there as we do the Truth Serum on all the news that happened this week, while we chop it up on standout news stories, issues that happened over the course of the week. That's what's up. So thank those folks, and I look forward to seeing you there. You'll be able to catch it on Facebook, YouTube. I think all the platforms that I'm on, Ida will have it as well, okay? My sister Ida, man, she is something else, isn't she? That's what's up. It's gonna be hot. You know that. We don't pull no cards, man. We don't pull no punches. All right, guys. Wolfpack, I'm trying to tell you, man, if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know what I'd do. I got the greatest supporters, bar none, and I don't just say that. Don't just think I'm complimenting you to compliment you. It's the truth. This show is brought to you by you. That's it. No parade out there. I had no, people, like, look, guys, people say, Tim Black, how do you do it? I do it because of people. That's how I do it, okay? I do it because people like the show. I do it because we got a simple concept here. People who watch news don't know if they're watching real news or fake news, and by the time they finish watching the news, sometimes they feel like they know less about the news than before they sat down. What we do here is we give you the news, truthful, honest, right to the point. We don't beat around. We don't take payoffs and none of that, or days off. So if you want that, if you want news, you want to know what's going on in your world, you tune into this show. You don't get it like this. You ain't going to get it like this because they can't. They have what's called sponsors and advertisers who don't want them to tell the truth, Johnson. Ow. Speaking of telling the truth, guys, let's start off this with ObamaGate. Yeah, we got to start off with ObamaGate because people are like wondering, what's this ObamaGate thing? And other people are using it and some are not using it. It's becoming a thing. I think we need to address it, okay? And first I got a clip on it. So let's bring people up to score kind of what it comprises of, at least what corporate media is kind of pegging this whole ObamaGate thing. Because we heard Trump make reference to it in a press conference. Check it out.
And this as he's just tweeting away this morning about what he's been calling ObamaGate. And yesterday, the president was asked what he means by his claims about former President Obama. Take a listen.
What crime exactly are you accusing President Obama of committing, and do you believe the Justice Department should prosecute him?
ObamaGate. It's been going on for a long time. It's been going on from before I even got elected, and it's a disgrace that it happened. And if you look at what's gone on, and if you look at now all of this information that's being released, and from what I understand, that's only the beginning. Some terrible things happened, and it should never be allowed to happen in our country again. And you'll be seeing what's going on over the coming weeks. But I wish you'd write honestly about it. But unfortunately, you choose not to do so. Yeah, John, please.
Crime. What is the crime exactly that you're accusing him of?
You know what the crime is. The crime is very obvious to everybody.
No,
actually, much to unpack there.
It's not obvious to everybody.
Joining us now, NBC News and MSNBC law analyst and editor-in-chief of Lawfare, Benjamin Wittes. And Ben, I mean, aside from the fact that he was run off the stage by two women reporters, one in which he was extremely racist toward, and the other, he just ran off, not to get distracted by that, but to go back to this. There is so much to unpack in what that one soundbite. We'll see what happens. You'll see what it is. It's coming out in the next few weeks. You know what it is. I don't. Can you tell us?
I can't, actually. Obamagate is a phrase that seems to have no meaning except to tag his predecessor with some very nebulous scandal. The information that has been released that he refers to relates to General Flynn, of course. It does not in any sense establish that there was any great misconduct on the part of the Justice Department or the FBI, much less President Obama, who was not in office anymore by the time General Flynn was interviewed by the FBI. And so I think this is, really an effort to distract and to mobilize his base and to kind of keep this sense of conspiracy that animates so much of his response to criticisms and allegations against him going and fevered up. And beyond that, I have no sense of what he's talking about.
Well, I mean, and he is. It's conspiracy theories left and right, conspiracy theories about Barack Obama this morning, more conspiracy theories about me, not
All right, we're going to get rid of that one. Okay. Thanks for a little discombobulated here. Okay, so I don't know if you really picked up anything there, if there was anything to glean from that clip. Okay, so first of all, they're lying, okay? I don't know who the boring-ass guy who's talking is, have no idea who he is, but we all know who Morning Joe is and Brzezinski and what they're talking about, okay? And what they're doing is they're carrying water, once again, for the establishment. Here's the deal, guys. What Trump is referring to, ObamaGate, is this idea, okay? It's not really an idea. It's trying to find a smoking gun for who is the one who leaked information about Michael Flynn to the Washington Post. Okay, so remember 3 years of your life you had to hear about Russia? Remember that? That wasn't that long ago. For all of a sudden now, no one remembers. Mika, you don't remember it? You don't remember? Remember we used to have Trump on every day? Remember that? Remember during that time, you gave free publicity to Donald Trump. You and Joe Scarborough. Countless, door to door. The best coverage money couldn't buy. There was so much coverage, no one could afford to buy the amount of coverage you gave Donald Trump. That's what happened. You were his buddy and pal and friend. You played footsie every morning. He'd call you from the shitter, okay? That's how close they were. Remember that time? Well, during that time, apparently, okay, obviously, people were investigating Trump, saying he had ties to Russia. It started before Donald Trump won the nomination. It started early, okay? So ObamaGate is an idea that who's the one who leaked the information about Michael Flynn having a conversation with Russian Ambassador Kislyak? The idea is that it was Obama. Okay? That's it. That's what it is. That's what ObamaGate is. It's that Obama and Obama's administration was prying, looking, listening in to Donald Trump at Trump Tower to try to get information on him that says that he was a Russian asset or Russian handler. That's ObamaGate, okay? Now, so I don't know why Joe wants to make it like it's not a thing. It's a thing. Someone told him. Someone started listening to Trump. When I say Trump, I mean the entire organization. As well, at the time, Michael Flynn was the security advisor, and we know what happened there. He got arrested. He had to quit. They distanced themselves from him. All this stuff. All his investigations. He had started to roll in the Trump administration very early on. Numerous people, Papadopoulos and weird name people, I forget. His lawyer went down with the Stormy Daniels lying. And there's many others who caught the wrath of that. So this is not make-believe. It really did happen, okay? So if you believe it was Obama who was behind it or not, It's still a thing that happened. Someone said, it wasn't Trump, someone said, hey, Trump may be doing something dirty and we've been listening to his phone calls, or there was wiretaps, now I'm going too far. I don't know if there were wiretaps, okay? Someone heard something. How they heard it, how'd they hear it? For more information on this, you need to go probably watch somebody on the right. I can think of a few people. But, okay, so here's the deal, guys. What's happening right now is very similar to RussiaGate, but it's in reverse, okay? So, look, man, no one ever said that Donald Trump didn't have ties to Russia. He did have ties to Russia. He did business in Russia. He was a businessman who did business in Russia. How good of a businessman, we don't know, okay? But he was a businessman who did deals in Russia. Did the Russians pay him to sabotage America's elections? That was never proven, Johnson. In fact, what they did prove is that the people around him, tangentially connected to Donald Trump, may have done some things, questionable things, before Trump, before they even worked for Donald Trump, okay? So, who cares, right? Has nothing to do with Trump. It's nothing to do with Trump. So, 3 years of our lives, if you cover media, I hate these stories. I do. For 3 years, they chased their tail on the Russia story because they thought it would hurt Trump. And now, unfortunately for Trump, he's been unable to bolster enough interest into the ObamaGate thing to return the love. Because they love to return the love, man. Republicans and the Democrats, they do this all the time. They go back and forth, hitting one another, hearings about one another, whoever's in power or whoever has the ability to put whoever on the hot seat. That's what they do. And that's why you watch this show, because I don't belong to either one of them. Okay? No allegiance to either one of them. But they both play the same games. What we found out from RussiaGate, by and large, was, yes, of course, Russia tries to influence our elections. So does China, so does Switzerland. So everyone tries to influence elections. We do more than influence elections. We actually pick winners and losers in other countries' elections. That's what we're doing in Venezuela. Okay? So that's something that gets done all the time. Did the Russians take out ads? Yes. You know how many people don't know really anything about that story? Not really. That the Department of Justice found out that basically, as Facebook reported, most of those ads that were run from Russia were run after the election. Like, these things matter, but no one wants to address real issues. Not Mika Brzezinski, not Joe Scarborough, not most of the folks over at CNN. None of them really want to talk honestly about this. Yes, what happened with Michael Flynn didn't happen until Obama was out of office. But who started the chain reaction? Who started the investigation? Who opened up? Who got the Pfizer warrant? All these things. Okay. Now, as asinine and boring and stupid as it may seem to you, prepare for a lot more of this. Because what's happening now is Joe Biden is draping himself in Obama, and Trump is having to go after Obama to get to Joe Biden. Get it? See, this is the thing I was trying to tell people that was so hard for Bernie. It's one thing for Trump to run through Obama to hurt Biden. It's another thing for Bernie Sanders to do it. And I know you don't want to hear it. I don't care. He dropped out. He's a traitor. He's a coward. He has no spine. Okay, here's the deal. Donald Trump, part of his game plan is to go through Obama to hurt Biden. He has to do it. See, here's the thing. Biden will do very well with black folks and a lot of voters because of his connections to Obama. This is what you do when you have a favorable Democrat who you are connected to, who has high, 94% favorability rating. It's crazy. Obama's favorability rating with the Democratic Party is very high. There are people that will come out and vote for Joe Biden, not because of Joe Biden, but because of Obama. The only excitability really that is around the Joe Biden candidacy is to get rid of Trump, who's an existential threat to humanity and all things living or dead, and is to somehow get back to some normalcy. And to those people, normalcy is back when you didn't hear about the president every 2 seconds saying something stupid at a press conference, which is basically what Trump does. Okay? So that is most recent history is Obama. Okay, so what Trump has to do is sully Obama substantially in order to impact Joe Biden. We're going to do that in the way of Ukraine-gate. He's going to now use ObamaGate and anything he can. And now, it's not going to be devastating, whatever this is that happens with this that Trump is touting. But the idea is to shave a few points off Joe Biden. Take even more of the luster off Joe Biden. Take even more of the presidential aura off Joe Biden and drag him down to his level. That's what he has to do. That's the intention. Now, for some, and we can debate this all day, for some, there is no dragging to do. They're both on the same level. They're both horrible. But to others, yourself notwithstanding, there are others who do believe that Donald Trump has done a horrible job and that he's worse than Joe Biden. These are conversations. So do you want to eat a rotten crow sandwich with maggots on it, or do you want to eat a rotten rat sandwich with maggots on it? But you might have some horseradish too to wash down and sort of lessen the taste of the maggots. And I'm not even going to tell you which one is which. It's up to you. That's right. We got a pandemic sweeping through the country, and our politics has been reduced to which is worse. Which you want to do first? Jump off the building or drown? Or self-immolate yourself or drink bleach? Like which? That's what it's come down to. It's a shame, but it is what it is. Okay, so that's ObamaGate. And of course there's other things to it. You know, you could spend more time on it, and many will. You know, we have those that, you know, who want to focus on it. I don't want to focus on it. It's a non-story. It's a waste of our time. It's a waste of your time. Okay, you can go down the rabbit hole if you want to go down the rabbit hole to find out who shot who shot the sheriff, and you'll find out the sheriff deserved to be shot. That's what you're going to find out. You're going to find out both sides shoot the sheriff on a regular basis. If you dig through the archives, you'll find a lot of sheriffs shot. Okay, and you know I'm figuratively speaking about the Bob Marley tune. I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy. Turns out both Obama and Trump shot the deputy, and Joe Biden shot the deputy, and his cronyism, and he's on the corruption, and he's always had his hand out to any big organization, any industry he can get paid. It's just horrible, okay? It's horrible. All right. For more information, go to the nearest, I don't know, shooting range and stand in for one of the signs that you shoot at. I don't know, one of the targets. I'm joking. Don't do that, please. All right. Now on to something else that's a little bit more, that I think is a little bit more important to cover. You know, I covered this story about Nancy Pelosi and the HEROES Act. I covered it because I do believe that the coronavirus is a dangerous thing. I believe that there are people that are succumbing to the illnesses, the virus, and the catastrophe, the chain reaction that the virus sets off in your immune system, which leaves you more vulnerable to other diseases and which takes people out via lungs. Unable to breathe is it's got to be a horrible way to go. And I'm hearing some horrible stories about it. And friends of the show who have passed away as well. So it's not a figurative thing to me. It's a real thing to me. Okay. And like you know, people are suffering the financial impact as well as the psychological impact of what's going on in the whole country is, right? So we want to address that. We want to look at the coronavirus and the updates on the coronavirus. But right now, the argument that's taking place is about we got two parts. How are we going to deal with people who are affected monetarily? How people are going to stay in their homes? And how are we going to deal with the financial impact of this pandemic? And how are we going to deal with the death toll of this pandemic? These things all need to be dealt with. And then how much civil liberties? When can people go back to work? Because we're not taking care of the financial part of it. And it's a whole bunch of murkiness that we got to get to. So with that, let's start here.
Common sight on cruise ships, resorts and casinos. Piles of hot food in communal trays, each patron helping themselves to as many servings as desired. If just one is infected, Common sight on cruise ships, resorts and casinos. Piles of hot food in communal trays, each patron helping themselves to as many.
Let me set this up for you because this is a very interesting clip, okay? I'm not bad about the technical difficulties. I got it squared away now. Let me set this clip up for you. This is a clip that was used, I think it's in Hong Kong, where they wanted to display how easily coronavirus is spread. Okay, as things are starting to reopen now, we know that's inevitable. We want people to be aware of really what's at stake. Okay, so when people, because I'm seeing it already, I'm seeing video of people at bars with no mask, sitting very close together. People who are basically, once they got tired of being on lockdown, they decided it was safe because they were still alive. Yeah, the coast is clear, so let's, like in the movies where they were shooting outside and then they're like, oh, well, they stopped shooting. I guess everything's okay. Then they go outside and they get shot. Well, that's kind of what's happening now, or what the potential of what's happening now. Well, anyway, this video from Hong Kong kind of shows in a demonstrative way how easily disease are transferred, diseases of this nature. With that, here we go.
Common sight on cruise ships, resorts and casinos. Piles of hot food in communal trays, each patron helping themselves to as many servings as desired. If just one is infected, it may be the perfect setting for a virus to flourish. And a new video out of Japan helps show how fast it could spread. Medical experts teamed up with the country's public broadcaster, NHK, in an experiment that simulates a cruise ship's buffet-style restaurant. First, one of 10 participants rubs his palms with special liquid only visible under black light. He represents an infected person who had coughed into his hands. Then he joins 9 others as they spoon food onto their plates and sit down to eat. After 30 minutes, the room goes dark before an ultraviolet light comes on. The fluorescent liquid is now visible on a lot of surfaces. Items the so-called infected person had touched. Tongs, pitchers, food tray lids. Left residue others picked up. And in turn spread to silverware, dishes, glassware, clothing and phones. After half an hour, every participant had come into contact with the liquid. 3 of them had gotten it on their faces, a visual show of how easily a contaminated substance can travel.
The issues with that video is that there's a lot of material which was put on the hands, and so that's a very artificial situation. But I think what they've been able to do is to actually show just what the consequences are of the spreading of potential infectious disease from hands when proper hand hygiene is not performed.
All right. Okay, so let's make sure we're good. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so the video we just showed there, look, scary stuff, right? Right? Can we agree? It could travel like that. It's like one of those nasty videos they show you about hotel rooms that you might frequent and how there's like all types of human fluids, body fluids like everywhere. Yeah. Pretty nasty stuff. Like that's happening. So when you all are happy and go lucky and ready to go to the bar or go to the club or wherever you're trying to go to, just realize that it may not just be body fluids. It could be corona. Okay? You see how easy it was to spread, right? Okay. So, and the part of the reason why I'm showing you that is not just to freak you out, not just to scare you, but it's just to be reality. This is reality. It's not, I don't know why this is political. This should not be political, okay? Even if, guys, even if you're so financially strapped that you're like, Tim, it ain't a choice for me. This is my situation. This is what I have to do. I understand that. I understand. But you need to be armed with the information so you can protect yourself while you do it. I cannot tell you, a grown woman with kids to feed, not to go to work if given an opportunity. I can't tell you that. I would not tell you that. But what I can do is tell you, hey, they shooting out there. Hey, be careful out there. And you know what? And for me not to do that would be a dereliction of duty. Right? That's how I see it, okay? That would be unethical for me not to tell you that. Now, what's happening, though, this has become so politicized. We got the left saying everybody should stay home. We got people on the right saying everybody should go outside and play and go skydiving and go to the beach and give each other massages. And I'm wondering, are people seeing through it? Do you understand? Look, I told you before that the value of this channel, the value of the TBTV show is that we give you information without trying to push you to any political ideology. What we're trying to do is open your mind up to realism, the truth. That's it. And let the chips fall where they may. That's the goal. Now, you'll see a lot of people who are who call themselves progressive. They talk a lot about Tucker Carlson. They like Tucker. You know, they point out a lot when Tucker's right about something from their point of view. I don't know why they always have to somehow shoe wedge in what Tucker thinks. I don't give a shit what Tucker thinks, and neither do I have to use him as a barometer to tell people, hey, Tucker's good. He's right about this. You know, there are things Rachel Maddow's probably right about. I don't talk about them either. There are things probably that Joy Reid's right about, but how often do they say, hey, Joy Reid's right about this? And Tucker and Anderson Cooper's right about that. And, you know, they don't do that. So I don't make it a habit to talk about Tucker Carlson. And even in this clip that I'm about to show you, there are things Tucker gets right, but things he gets grossly wrong. Let's focus on both of those real quick.
Common sight on cruise ships, resorts and casinos.
It has tested less than 90,000 people out of a population of more than 10 million. Mayors in Georgia are describing the governor's decision as reckless, dangerous, and illogical. It has tested less than 90,000 people out of a population of more than 10 million. Mayors in Georgia are describing the governor's decision as reckless, dangerous, and illogical. People out of a population of more than... And for the record, Georgia does not meet the White House guidelines. It does not have a 14-day trajectory of declining cases. It has tested less than 90,000 people out of a population of more than 10 million. Mayors in Georgia are describing the governor's decision as reckless, dangerous, and illogical.
Oh, the voice of overpriced Brooklyn. We must do what the White House tells us, he screams on MSNBC. That's how dangerous it was. Mark this day, wrote one longtime Washington reporter, because 2 and 3 weeks from now, the Georgia death toll is blood on Governor Brian Kemp's hands. Well, as it happens, we did, in fact, mark that day. It was April 25th, 2020, when the reopenings began. That day, Georgia had 650 new cases of coronavirus. Yesterday, which was 18 days later, Georgia had a total of 555 cases of coronavirus. Infections and death in Georgia have been declining since early April. That's why they began to reopen it. There are still sick people in the state. There will be for a while. Some of them will die. But as of tonight, Georgia's numbers, the actual numbers, are no worse than the national average. And that tells us a lot. We should be thrilled by this news because it suggests that America can begin to return to normal, restore rights stolen from the population, maybe even treat citizens like adults once again, and not court medical disaster. You would think our leaders would be racing to the podium to share this great news. But of course, they're not. Just the opposite, in fact. They're doubling down on authoritarianism.
All right. Okay, so what we have here is Tucker Carlson doing his best. It's all about our rights and our patriotism and our ability to be free people. Free people. We got to be free people. What he's leaving out is that, you know, very real, that, yeah, there's freedom to be had, and people want to be able to go about their lives like they were doing it before. But there's also a price to pay, a price that you might not be ready for. And that needs to be considered just as much as the freedom. So what I have a problem with, and look, of course, Georgia reopened, and it's not like the death rate went to zero. It's still above 500 a day, from my understanding. Well, I don't know if it's death rate. It can't be 500 people dying a day, can it, Johnson? Maybe they're contracting the illness, okay? As soon as the drop is Tucker, I didn't look this up. I went based on this clip. I'm hoping he's telling the truth. The bottom line is Georgia did not see a spike after they lessened the restrictions on the mitigation, after they reopened, okay? But would there have been more reduction if they had kept the mitigation going? You don't know. See, you never really know. And no two states are going to be the same. So you never really know what would have happened if you would have stayed on the shutdown. Would there have been some people who would have been spared? Yeah, it's possible, Tucker, but that's not even the idea that you want to visit because you want it to be cut and dry one way or the other. And this is the problem. Herein lies the problem with all these networks, with all these talking points, is that one side is going to act like this is the end of the world and everybody's going to die. The other side acts like, well, you owe it to yourself to go die today. And I don't know which side you want to be on. And I guess it all depends on if you're going to be the person that dies, Johnson, because as much as we want to be out there, we have to take into consideration the amount of risk. So it's up to you to decide on that amount of risk. I liked an article I read today from the New York Times. It's by Dr. Marty Makary. It's an opinion piece, but Marty Makary is a surgeon. He's a best-selling author, and he's an expert, a policy expert at Johns Hopkins, okay? So he's a renowned guy. People know him. He's known in the field, recognized. In his op-ed, he says this. He says, as a physician, I firmly believe the goal of our reopening strategy should be to maximize the number of lives saved, but virus mitigation can take many forms, ranging from effective to excessive. So he says we can't go too far with the mitigation. We can't take excessive steps to mitigate as well as substantial steps to mitigate, effective steps. Extreme forms of mitigation can have diminishing returns. Protections of the death toll produced by the current economic shutdown are often politically motivated, but the effects on human life are real. Okay? Let me say that one more time. Projections of the death toll produced by the current economic situation are often politically motivated, but the effects on the human life are real. So as we play the game of who's right, who's wrong from a political standpoint, real people are being hurt. Just like real people are losing their jobs, real people are committing suicide. What about those numbers? Are those numbers up? I got a feeling they're probably up, Johnson. The numbers of people who are in abusive relationships, who we won't even know till this is over, really the impact it has had on families at home who are staying in place. We really won't know. But we know it's got to take a psychological toll. We got children who, we know the numbers based on pre-pandemic numbers of what life was like, and now we got pandemic numbers. And there's got to be a difference. And as it's going, there's going to be a price to pay for pandemic lockdown on people as well. Not to mention the hospitals that are turning people away who don't have pandemic symptoms because they don't want them to come to the hospital and get infected, and they got all they can handle with dealing with people who have the coronavirus. So there's a lot happening, guys. There's all types of levels, but instead of saying, hey, this isn't a black or white issue, it's more like a gray issue, and this is what we have, and let's honestly look at it, we got a bunch of blabbering people with incentives and their own narratives that they're spinning on you. One last point about Dr. Markey. He says, and think about this. In late April, the United Nations World Food Program reported that 250 million people may face starvation as a result of the economic impact of COVID-19. It says local food banks are already congested. We're talking about record wait times for people asking for food. This is unprecedented in America, what's happening right now. That must be considered along with the fact that people are going to lose their lives as we open up, as we become more lax. What's the solution to it? Well, a solution as best it can be, I would say, would be to make people as well off as possible, is to make sure that they can be able to stay home or either provide the PPE. See, we can't even get enough test kits for states to give test kits to their people to know if you even have it. That's a problem. We can argue about whose fault it was and who didn't know this and who cut what services and who diminished what response unit. We can do that later. But what the reality is, we don't have the equipment. I sat and watched a testimony on the Hill today where the former, I guess he would be director of the response on pandemics, who lost his job, Bowen, I think his last name was, where he talked about no one listened to him. No one listened to him when he said we need to get the mask, the N95 mask. He was calling for him in 2017. He said no one listened to him. They all ignored him in the Trump administration. But he also made note of him when they tried to cut him off because he said they did the same thing when under the Obama administration. He was like, hey, we need more masks. We needed more personal protective equipment under both presidents. We've needed more PPE under both presidents. That's what you need to know. It's not just Trump, it's Obama as well. But Obama ain't president anymore. So there's that. The only solution I see, based on what I've been pouring over, guys, like I said, I don't care much about who gets the blame or who gets the credit. I care about people's lives. Is people need to know that this is serious business. As long as we got people who are thinking wearing a mask means you're a slave, not only is that completely stupid, Johnson, but it kind of defeats the purpose of you being safe. Look at that tape and see how easily this crap spreads. If there's any chance you can bring that home to your kids and all it will take for you is to wear a little mask, well, maybe you need to wear that mask. But you can't wear that mask unless we give you that mask. Get it? So I'm not telling you it's easy. I'm not telling you it's clean and cut and dry. I'm not telling you that there's an easy solution to it or anything like that. But what I'm telling you is that you need the information. I know if it was me and they were shooting down the block and I, for some reason, had my headphones on, I would like to think you'd be a cool enough person to tell me. Even interrupt what I'm listening to. Make sure I get the information. So anyway, moving on. Now, the other part of this is the HEROES Act, okay? So we know there's been these previous bills that have passed and people, they're supposed to be to help you and I. Well, actually, they were never designed to help us. Come on, let's keep it real, guys. These bills that were passed, these stimulus packages that were passed, were never passed to really help us, or they would have. Yeah, America's really good at getting done what it wants to get done when they want to get it done. The bottom line is, if you ain't got your $1,200, it's because you ain't a priority. If you ain't get the fact that you did, in fact that was $1,200 and that $2,400 is because they didn't want it to be for you. You understand? They could do it. We print our own money. We own our own currency. We can make it whatever we want the number to be. When we go to war, we never question how much money we're gonna spend. We just say how many zeros do we need to add to the balance sheet, and that's what we do. So these bills these stimulus bills that have been passed, they could always been a lot better. They have been highway robbery to the American people, and they bailed out corporations as usual. And Senator Nina Turner on the show, and she talked about it. She talked about how one industry that did it the right way was the airline industry. Airline industry made a pact that they would not cut jobs. They took money, but they won't cut jobs. Other industries have made no such pact. That's the way I think they should have to do it. Now, prematurely, I covered Nancy Pelosi and the HEROES Act. And I only said prematurely because I was scathing with her, but I should have been even more scathing. Because the HEROES Act Nancy Pelosi is trying to pass, that she's introducing, according to The Intercept, ain't nothing but a bailout for more corporations. Here goes the article entitled, HEROES Act delivers a win to the health insurance industry. Now, we're talking about an industry that's profitable as hell. We're talking about billions of dollars. We're not talking about an industry that's hurting. At least the airline industry, as you can imagine, is about to go out of business. But even if with the coronavirus, if people show up at the hospital, the government was picking up the tab for people who were getting tested, right? So why are we bailing out the insurance industry when they're getting paid? Nancy Pelosi. That's why. Because Nancy Pelosi is a scumbag. Because Nancy Pelosi can't be trusted. Because the House Democrats are corporate Democrats. They're the corporate wing of the Democratic Party. There are Republicans who are worse than Republicans because they're Republicans who deny that they are Republicans. Get it? So we all know Republicans look out for their money. There's an old saying. When you get a certain age, everyone's a Republican. You know, an age when you own a house, you got to pay taxes. When you're a kid, you're a Democrat. As you get older, you become a Republican. That's the saying. Doesn't apply to me. I'm neither. But you know, you get the point. The thing with these corporate Democrats is that they're Republican through and through. You just don't know it. It's really sneaky. It's scumbaggery that's being done here. So here goes Nancy Pelosi talking about this CARES Act one more time so people can understand this language that she's using, but what she leaves out about, and don't worry, I'm not going to play a lot of it. I wouldn't do that. But I want you to compare that to the clip I'm going to play after that.
It has tested less than 90,000.
We face the biggest catastrophe in our nation's history. Setting aside how we got here, we must approach this tragedy with the deepest humanity as we go into the future. All of our hearts are broken by the loss of life. The number of 33 million Americans who have filed for unemployment insurance is almost unimaginable. This is a moment when many millions of our fellow Americans are in deep suffering. We must have empathy for our heroes, the healthcare workers, for how exhausted and how stressed they are in doing their jobs. Add to that, they may lose their jobs in this economy. We must also empathize with the pain of families who do not know where their next meals are coming from and how to pay next month's rent. It is imperative that we address the needs of the American people with clarity on how we proceed. That is why today, House Democrats are introducing the HEROES Act, named for our heroes, whose provisions are largely based on the 4 previous bipartisan bills we have passed. The HEROES Act focuses on 3 pillars: opening our economy safely and soon, honoring our heroes, and then putting much-needed money into the pockets of the American people.
All right, according to The Intercept, which you should have said, it was a 5th pillar. And that 5th pillar was bailing out the insurance companies. Yeah, it says it here, according to this article, the HEROES Act includes protections for employer-sponsored insurance plans, which the healthcare industry has been lobbying Congress on for weeks. Yeah, so the insurance premium companies have been going to Congress to try to get their language put in, to get a stipulation put in to help them. And that's who Nancy Pelosi is fighting for really here. So any money that's being allocated for these insurance companies should have been allocated, more of that should have been allocated to working people, right? And these small businesses, which she says that she gives lip service to. Now, I struggled to listen to Nancy Pelosi go on and on here. And I don't know what's going on with her, with the Botox or with the plastic surgery, but a lot's happening. A lot's going on. She went to the same place Joe Biden went to. Must be something on the hill or some, I don't know, a place to drive through, a virtual place you get your face done or something. Plastic lady. So, but the point is, I didn't hear anything in those tapes, anything in that recording, as long as it was what she's honest about, she's bailing out the insurance companies. So that'd be too much like right, okay? The proposed legislation includes subsidies for continued coverage for furloughed workers and people using COBRA. A continued health coverage plan for those who have lost work, even if they don't pay their premiums. So they want to make it so that here's the deal, guys. Say you're not working, right? You're not working because your company laid you off, right? Furloughed you, okay. Nancy Pelosi, in this bill, she allocate money to give to the insurance companies so that you will have to pay premiums, so that they will pay the premiums for those insurance companies. So let's say whatever that is deductibles or whatever you usually pay out of your paycheck, they want to make sure the insurance companies get those. Yeah, we want to make sure the insurance company continues to get paid from you, even though you're not working. So we're going to pay the employees, or we got to make sure we pay insurance companies too, because they're people. Yeah, they're people. They're not facing getting kicked out of their homes, Johnson. They're not people that are facing. Excuse me. They are not. The people that work for insurance companies are not facing the same hardships that working people are working who cannot work. Know how I know? I know because the push to protect insurance premiums comes as some healthcare companies like UnitedHealth, Humana, and Cigna have reported profits during the pandemic amid the record high unemployment, and have boasted that they don't expect to take a financial hit. Nancy Pelosi is forcing money in the hands of the insurance companies. What I'm trying to say is insurance companies like, Oh, we good, man. Wow, that was a great piece of pie. Man, I'm telling you, man, I ain't know you could throw down like that. And that ziti, oh, my goodness. That is something else, man. I'm going to tell my mama, oh, man, and the meatballs. Woo! I'm full. I couldn't eat another bite. And she's like, yeah, you could. Don't you want some piece of pie? Don't you want some cheesecake? Like, nah, man, we good, man. Like, we just ate. We good. No, I really want you to eat a piece of pie. She sound more like that. I really want you to eat a piece of pie because it's a good piece of pie. You want to eat a piece of pie? You just do it. And all the pieces of pie is really good. We did a lot of cooking. Me and Chuck Schumer, we did cook a lot of piece of pie. And then we get a piece of pie. Like, lady, please, I can't eat no more. I'm over here. I'm fat over here. I can't eat anymore. I had a piece of pie. It'd be really good to eat more piece of pie. Y'all must feel a little bit insulted. And you just eat that piece of pie with a piece of pie. Why won't you eat a piece of pie? With a piece of pie, listen. Ooh. I don't have eyebrows. I can see into the future. Is that you, Jesus? Hi, Jesus. I'm Nancy Pelosi. I will outlive my usefulness. Now, if you want to hear a public servant that's actually fighting for the people, it sounds a little bit like this, Johnson.
In is because we have not thought about the reason that we are in the situation that we're in is because we have not thought about the strategic goal of stopping mass unemployment, keeping paychecks in workers' pockets, and helping businesses survive this crisis without letting banks, for example, pick winners and losers. I read the stories of Melba and Triness, and I think that they reflect what I've been hearing from small businesses across the country and, frankly, workers of any size businesses, which is that they really need relief to go directly from the IRS to workers, guaranteeing their paychecks up to a certain salary cap and allowing businesses to have a certain amount of money that can go into their fixed costs, which have to continue no matter what. So our paycheck guarantee proposal would allow for any size business, no winners or losers here, any size business, but the people that benefit the most will be small businesses who don't have banking relationships, who aren't banked already. They can go directly to the IRS and using their previous tax filings, so no additional paperwork really that's needed, they can say, okay, I've got revenue loss of 70%. And then a grant amount would be calculated, not a loan, not a maybe forgivable loan, but a grant amount would be calculated for a lump sum of 3 months of salary and benefits, plus times the revenue loss, plus an amount for operations. And that would continue until unemployment reaches 7% for 3 months straight. That's a level of certainty that businesses don't have. And when you think about who the PPP has left out, it's a lot of small businesses. 95% of Black-owned businesses have not been able to get support. And all of the structural flaws of the program have meant that relief is not going to where it should go. It's not going to the hardest hit places that have suffered coronavirus, and it's not going to the places where unemployment is the highest. So we desperately need another solution, and we need it with urgency, because 33 million unemployed is a stunning number. And we need to put certainty in businesses' pockets and preserve that relationship between businesses and their employees, and also help keep employees on health care when they already have it through their employer. Very excited about the proposal, but we have to get it in now.
Okay. So that's what it sounds like when someone actually cares about the people. That's what it sounds like. Not a lot of airy talk. I heard a lot of airiness and platitudes coming from Nancy Pelosi. Same way Joe Biden talks. Nothing's concrete. Nothing's bam. This is what we're talking about. This is the actual thing we're trying to do. Not about the feelings, but about what we're trying to do. She says here, the small business relationships. If you have a small business, you don't have a relationship with a bank that you can get a loan. These are people that mostly are impacted by what's happening now. They have not been substantially taken care of, supplemented for what's been happening with the furloughs, with the layoffs. And another thing that's not being mentioned much is, even if you let people go back to business, you let businesses open up at a quarter, what was it, 25%, I think it was? In most states, 25% reopen rates, like in restaurants. And if you got 100 seats, you got 25 of them that you can fill at a time. That does not mean that you're going to be in business 6 months from now, just because you reopen. I mean, we're talking about people taking up such a financial hit that they are still crushed. Just reopening Tucker and everybody else doesn't mean it's going to change everything, okay? So what Pramila is suggesting, Jayapal is suggesting, Ms. Jayapal is suggesting here, Congressperson Jayapal, let me get it right the third time. Congressperson Jayapal is saying that what we need to do is we need to make sure these businesses, small businesses and its working people, can stay living in their homes and can keep their medical coverage and can sustain. She said for 3 months, when the unemployment rate drops, we still want to keep it going. We want the unemployment rate, everybody go back to work for at least 3 months. At under 13%, under 7% unemployment rate. And look, this is better than so when we talk about mitigation is not just wearing a mask. This should also be a part of mitigation. The folks that are out there protesting, this should be the other side of it as well. You have paid into a system your entire life. Not just you, your parents paid into a system. My patriotic friend, all of you did. Your family, my family, we all paid into a system. Now we're in an unprecedented time in a situation that we did not create ourselves. You are thrust upon it. It is thrust upon us. We should not have to have this stress, this worry. Okay? We got everyone under the gun right now. And you should be looking at your government to mitigate this situation. We had the ability to do it. What's the point of being, I keep saying, people, what's the point of being a superpower? What's the point of being the most profitable country, the most successful company, the most amazing, all this stuff? What's so good about being great if at the end of the day when you have a pandemic and you print your own money, you don't print enough money to take care of your citizens? You should rather see citizens die because they're over the age of 50 or whatever. Because they have diabetes, they get to die. Because they live in poor neighborhoods, they get to die. Because they're in a nursing home, they get to die. What's the point? You might as well go live in a third world country if you're going to die from a disease that could be mitigated in the country that you live in now. I don't understand. So the hardest hit places, which she pointed out, the hardest hit places, the hardest hit folks, the hardest hit businesses are not getting the subsidies. They say 95% of black-owned businesses are not getting the support. I mean, we could talk all day about structural racism. A lot of people don't understand it. I look at it every day. It is what it is. This person knows this person, so this person gets a job. They get a leg up. They get this opportunity. Other people don't get that opportunity. They get that opportunity because their parents worked at this place or that place. And it just continues on. It even happens in independent media. This is the way things work. So back to this, guys. What we have to do is we have to open our minds up. So I'm done yelling at these people about protesting. I'm not going to focus on it. I think it's all a canard. Or a canard, a canard. Right? They want to give me the raw meat to go after. Meanwhile, folks, what they're doing is they're sneaking out the money to the insurance company out the back door. Nancy Pelosi's leading the charge. So I do want an act that takes care of people. I just don't want the pork in the act. Let's get the pork out the act. Ms. Congressperson Jayapal was saying that's what needs to happen. If you want to get that to pass the House, it needs to have the pork taken out so that progressives and others can vote for it. Jayapal's bill, along with POCAN, is what we need to look at. Right? All right. Now, I got one last story, guys. One last story. This one is something that kind of got away from me, guys. This was earlier, Wolfpack. Wolfpack, look, I should have talked about it, and it's always hit or miss with this particular program. If I get shut down while I'm playing this, it is what it is. But I want to address it. It's Tucker. It's Bill Maher. Sometimes it seems like they're almost the same person, right? Bill Maher, he's talking about Tara Reid. And I didn't comment on this. And, well, since everybody else has talked about it probably, because it's a week ago, last Friday I think it was, I think it'd be cool to talk about it. If you haven't seen Bill Maher have at it with the Tara Reid, Joe Biden allegations, check it out. Yeah. Let's go.
New rule, just because Fox News is obsessed with the Biden sex assault allegations, it doesn't mean the rest of us have to be. You may have noticed that Donald Trump has one move: accuse you of the very thing he's guilty of. Puppet, no puppet, you're the puppet. Remember that one? Okay, well, now it's Joe Biden grabs women by the pussy. Not that he even needs to say it. The liberal media and liberal party is doing it for him. Exactly what Republicans want, for us to go down the rabbit hole of Joe Biden's sex monster. So now everybody's investigating, but there is no fact-finding here. It's a he said, she said something else entirely. Yes, Biden's accuser, Tara Reid, has been contradicted by multiple people, most importantly, Tara Reid. Just last year, she said of Biden, I wasn't scared of him, that he was going to take me in a room or anything. It wasn't that kind of vibe. She suggested she had filed a sex harassment report. Now she says she didn't. She says she was fired by Biden's office, but in deleted posts, she said she left because, quote, I love Russia with all my heart. President Putin scares the power elite in America because he is a compassionate, caring, visionary leader. His obvious reverence for women, children, and animals, and his ability with sports is intoxicating to American women. What? What the fuck? We're letting this person change the subject from Donald Trump, lethal incompetent, to Joe Biden, sex monster? She literally wrote a love letter to the murderer trying to keep Biden from the White House. Yet the New York Times is calling for the DNC to establish a truth panel on this. Truth panel, huh? Which part? Putin's reverence for animals or how intoxicating he is to women? And Democrats are coalescing around the position that this accusation must be thoroughly vetted for the party to keep its credibility. Well, you know, credibility certainly is a problem for the party on this issue, mostly because they woke themselves into a corner when they adopted Believe Women as their slogan, when it should always have been Take Accusations Seriously. Kirsten Gillibrand said of the Al Franken allegations, the women who came forward felt it was sexual harassment, so it was. That was never tenable, because believing everything doesn't make you noble, it makes you gullible, and leaves us with a world where Republicans don't care about this stuff, so it's just a unilateral weapon that is used only against Democrats. Trump rides the bus with Billy Bush. We throw Al Franken under it. You know, Democrats are the party of choice. We can choose not to completely fuck ourselves over this. I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, gosh, Jesus, Bill. It's language. All right, jackass, check this out. First of all, no one cares about tweets or, I don't know, a Medium article that Tara Reid wrote. Notice how Bill Maher doesn't address any substantive points about Tara Reid's accusation. Yeah, the allegations themselves, like you're not dealing into any of it. You know, I see that you mentioned Al Franken. What's that got to do with Tara Reid? That has to do with the Democratic Party, friend. And no one cares if she thought a tweet about Putin and said Putin was sexy. Wait, you think Trump's sexy? Come on, man. I mean, I'm a guy. I don't really pay attention to that type of stuff because I like women, but if I wasn't a guy who liked women, I can't imagine. I'm going down the road I can't win on now. Yeah. The point is this, man. Look, who cares? Who cares what she wrote? I don't give a damn what she said in a Facebook group or Reddit thread or none of that. I don't care. The bottom line is she credible on this suggestion of the allegation that Joe Biden touched her? And if you look at the stats, if you look at the evidence presented, there's more here in Tara Reade's that's substantiated than it is for Dr. Blasey Ford, and people were gung-ho about that. And you know what? I understand what you're saying, that we shouldn't just automatically believe people, but we should take them seriously. And actually, I thought that was the same thing. If you believe them, you are taking them seriously, and that doesn't mean the other person is, you got to vet it, you got to find out. And what's problem is the overreaction has been, Bill, where they have not done the investigation, they just throw people away. You can't just throw people away, you got to do the investigation. That's what you got to do. Okay, and if people had to, but the problem is, we're talking about something as heinous as rape, then people kind of like don't want to be around a rapist. So that's the stigma that's carried with it. It's not a woman's fault or a man's fault that there's stigma attached to the thing that you're being accused of that makes people not want you around. There's also liability issues when it comes to these corporations. That's really the idea. But look, all of that being said, that's got nothing to do with this. You would not be saying all of this if it wasn't Joe Biden and you want to beat Trump. Just say that's the reason why, and I know it is. We know that's your reasoning. Here's the thing, though, Joe. Here's the thing, Bill. We don't get to decide if we're going to have standards just because we don't like Trump. I mean, you can decide that. I mean, you already have. You probably wouldn't be so hard on Trump if he came on your show. Isn't that how they all are? That's why he's all pissed off. If Trump came on your show, you'd be water under the bush, so to speak. Look, I wasn't there with Tara Reade, but I know somebody was there on the phone line with Larry King, and it sounded like Tara's mother, and it sounded like she was saying her daughter had an issue with somebody, and this was back in '93. So either Tara Reade's been lying for a very, 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 very long time, way before Joe Biden started running, or maybe something's true. But I guess you couldn't be bothered with the truth, could you? Or even finding out what the truth is. And look, I don't think this is going to decide the election. I really don't. I know there's people doing surveys and people are like, they want to get to the bottom of it. I think at the end of the day, people are going to vote for who they want to vote for. They believe Stormy Daniels and Trump, and we believe that Trump had a relationship with Stormy Daniels and he paid her off. I think most people believe that. I think most people know that about Trump. The problem is Joe Biden has not been a guy with a lot of money and not a politician for the last 30 years. So this is all Joe Biden's fault. If Joe Biden had been sniffing hair and touching people and being creepy, weird, up too close guy, if he wasn't doing all this stuff he's been doing for the last 25, 30 years, then maybe this wasn't resonate so well. But it's been him on camera. You've seen it. You've seen what he does. He's closer than someone giving you a lap dance at a bachelor party. What's up? We got lap dancers who are like, damn, we don't allow that in this bar. No touching the girls. So Joe has a problem. And that's beside this Tara Reade thing. People were saying this about Joe before this came out. Do you understand? Or you just live, is the bubble that thick in Hollywood that you bastards don't know? People were already talking about Joe Biden before I ever heard the name Tara Reade. Okay? It's already, the website Creepy Joe was already up 6 months before Tara Reade came out. But yeah, if you want to conjure in your mind that this is a conspiracy just to get rid of Joe Biden, have at it, Joni. Homie, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and believe what you want to believe. At the end of the day, there are going to be people that hate Trump so much they ain't going to care. And there are going to be people who love Trump so much they don't care about Trump. Hey, here's the deal. It's going to be up to this. This is what's going to come down to. Unless somehow Bernie Sanders somehow gets back in this thing and it's Joe Biden versus Trump, when it looks like that's the way it's going to be, and I've had to come to grips with that, it's going to be this. It's going to be about who is the guy, who's the old white guy that can make people vote for him, even if he shot somebody broad daylight on Fifth Avenue. Or even if he touched somebody in broad daylight on Fifth Avenue. That's going to be the decision. And look, hey, may the best grabber win. All right, I'm Tim Black. Follow me, Real Tim Black, on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram on Tim Black at Night. Don't forget, tomorrow at 3 p.m., I'll be on the Ida Rodriguez show, the Truth Serum show, with some great guests. I'm going to talk about the news of the week. This show is brought to you by the geek, progressive geek, obviously. This show has been brought to you by the Progressive Geek and the Tim Black Wolf Pack. How about that? There you go. All right, now let me go to the comment section and read comments, folks. And tomorrow night, after I go on that show with Ida, I got a tooth thing. You guys notice? It's starting a little bit better now. Beginning of the show was painful, man. Tomorrow night is Freedom Friday. That means you get to call up and be a part of the show. You get to call up to the show. It starts around 10:30 tomorrow night, and phone lines will open. All right. Now I can go to the comment section. Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Oh, man, Facebook stopped my feed because of Bill Maher. I guess. Marjorie, thank you, Marjorie. Okay, it stopped it and resumed it because I stopped, maybe. They made it non-discoverable because I played that clip. Sometimes you got to be undiscoverable. Go to YouTube. YouTube people, man. Progressive Geek, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you for supporting the show. I really do. Maker Things. We're back. We're baking cornbread, Johnson. Thank you, Maker. Zachary says, my bro thinking the Bezos has earned his wealth. You're right. Sheldon Hughes, what's up? You're spot on as usual, Tim. Thank you. Progressive Geek, once again, thank you. Always on point, Tim. Thank you. Thank you, Progressive Geek. Black Cougar, I respect that. Thank you for supporting the show, Black Cougar. I appreciate you. Progressive Geek once again. Shantez, can I email you something? Yeah, you can. Tim@TimBlackTV.com. Progressive Geek, have been a client of Malt Beef Food Bank after the 2008 crash. I donate to them now and the Mill Creek Food Bank. Give a shout out to the Mill Creek Food Bank. Dave L., buzz my head or make cornbread. Your call, Tim. Make cornbread. Oopsie, CBS, to open 1,000 COVID-19 drive-thrus, test sites by the end of May. Great. Progressive Geek once again, and David Melford in the house. David Melford, thank you so much. All right, guys. All right, that's it. That's all I got. I'll see you tomorrow. Remember, 3 p.m., Ida Rodriguez. She got a YouTube channel. All right. 10:30 tomorrow night, Freedom Friday. Don't let anybody take your cornbread and sprinkle some facts on them. Peace.